Hi, Winning Women. Welcome to our interview series. And this evening we're talking to Nicky Williams. And Nicky was recommended by Liz because I had a gap this week. And I asked the group who would sharp recommended Nicky. And your paths might have crossed recently anyway, haven't they? But
we did a wonderful few weeks together, didn't we, on the money mindset, which was fantastic. Really, really good. Blew me away with the money archetypes. That was fan-dabby-dozy.
Yeah, and it was instant for you as well, wasn't it? You were just,
yeah, I was a couple of weeks late. And then when I joined in, and that was the first thing, I was like, yes, this is what it's all about. I loved it. It completely made sense to me, Rosemary. And it's just the way that you talked about it and taught it was really, really, it impacted me, which was fantastic.
Fantastic. So along with knowing who we're talking to, our niche, our ideal clients, our dream clients, which we're going to talk about this evening, there are certain things, I'm sure you'd agree with this, Nicky, that I think are coming up as themes for the next year or so.
There's a real shift, actually. There's a real shift in the way that we are marketing ourselves, and it's okay to do it slightly different to the norm as well. I don't know if you agree, Rosemary.
I think we are developing our own way of doing business. I think anything is up for change at the moment. Women are in a better place than we've ever been, haven't we? And to run our lives and businesses as we choose to, which is a fairly new thing in terms of humanity anyway. And I don't think there are really any rules anymore. We can do exactly what we want. And that was partly what this series is about, was to bring in women who are doing something unusual, who can share with us. So just to give you an example, on the 13th, we've got 3 ladies who are all electricians in Winning Women.
Oh my gosh, that's really, really fabulous. I love that, the diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. And they want to talk about why the schools aren't recommending people go into trades.
I agree wholeheartedly, having worked in education for many years.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, so I totally agree that you may be academic, you may not be academic, but there should be choices. And when you find you go to the latter part of senior school, you only have my daughter is an artist. And but she was forced down there having to do all the academia and squeezing in the photography and the art, which was such a shame. So it's sort of different to the engineering side of it, but it's still the creative side that wasn't really enveloped as such. And it was more like a factory line of getting this produce done for the end result rather than nurturing the craft.
Wow, isn't that interesting? And that's exactly what we're looking at, exactly the opposite this evening, aren't we? Where we hone in on the people who, as one of my mentors, Sarupa Shah, said, she says we've connected up with our dream clients, soul clients, before we even come here.
I agree. Fantastic way of looking at it. We are aligned.
Yeah, and we all have different ways of doing things, don't we? But and this is the lovely thing, I do ideal client work as well, and I love with Winning Women, and this comes from Alison Marlowe, who started Winning Women. It was always about collaboration. You know, you don't need to worry if 5 people who do the same thing are there. You just work together, you share, you collaborate, you talk about it.
Yeah, and that is my my membership that I've got, the Next Level Club. It's community over competition. So although I've got many of the same genre in there, same niche, we're just supporters. And I think we need more of that. And I can definitely, as I said to you before we went live, I can definitely feel that in your group, that you are a group of supporting women. And that is really, to me, nurtured, and you do it beautifully.
Thank you. And I think this is also the age of the empath as well, and the sensitive people. That amazing book, Sensitive is the New Strong, for me was really powerful way of embracing sensitivity as a badge of honor rather than something to be apologetic for. So we're talking uniqueness. So let's tell us a bit about you then. What's your background? Just tell us a bit about you, Nicky.
What a journey I have been on, Rosemary. So at the moment now, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm at Zero Hustle Business Mentor. So I'm trying to scale it back, having to done the opposite up till 2 years ago, when I was working 70 hours a week, really working hard for the 2-3K figures. I invested in myself, really worked with my unique self and my unique qualities, which is what I think is really key. And then I entered the 5-figure a month world and worked 25 hours a week. And I found it literally flabbergasting. And I was like, if only I knew this 15 years ago, life would have been so much easier. So it's kind of my mission, really, I think, just to help women in business really fall in love with their uniqueness and their passions, and to really love their business again. Because so many people have gone through the hustle, haven't they, that they are literally like, they just want to make ends meet. And the marketing and all the rest of it is dragged them down. So I suppose I've got a unique take on the marketing and all the rest of it. But this all comes from, I'm very much a live out of the box person. So many, many years ago, going back around about 17 years ago, when my first 2 children were younger, I decided I was going to be a full-time mum. But within many weeks, like about 5 weeks, I was really bored. So I thought, right, because that's a serial entrepreneur mindset, isn't it? It's like, what else can I do? What else can I do? So I decided to enter consumer competitions. I don't know if you know this about me, Rosemary, or not. No. Okay, so I ended up crafting it. So I spent a year sort of crafting, working out how to enter consumer competitions, and I did it as a full-time job. So when the children went to nursery, then went to school, I had an office at home, and 9 till 3 o'clock I would enter consumer competitions. Everyone around me thought that was absolutely barking, and even though I was winning big, I was one of the top winners in the UK for about a decade. People thought I was a bit weird, and they'd usually come back and say to me, "Oh, I never win anything," and I'd say, "So do you enter competitions?" No, because I don't win anything. There you go. This is where we are, really. You know, you've got to have a positive mindset straight away. So for about 10 years, I used to be really sort of living outside of the box, and I used to craft and this is what I really truly believe, we have to really look at what it makes us different to stand out. You do not have to be the loudest person in the room to stand out from a crowd. I truly believe that, and I quite often say to my clients, and that's why people come to me, it's like, I'm just Nicky from Devon. There is nothing like show busy about me. I'm Nicky from Devon. I love going walking on the beach. Okay, that is me. But I also am passionate about what I do, and I truly believe anyone could make a really lovely lifestyle business, whether that's 1K a month, whether that's 10K a month, whatever it is, personal to them, and they shouldn't be forced to fit into the boxes. So that was where I started, and my years of comping really were setting me apart, I think, from the rest as such. And we, just like yourselves with this wonderful group that you've got in the Winning Women, we had similar, but for compers. And this was very early days for internet. So if there's people watching here, we didn't have internet once. And it was very, very early days where we had forums. We didn't have Facebook, we had forums. And we used to all meet up actually face to face as well. It was fantastic. And that was the early part of my networking. And we had a really gorgeous group of compers, as we called ourselves, that really supported each other. And they're still best friends today. And pre-COVID, we would meet each other still every year. And some of them have won like 5 cars, 6 cars, 7 cars, really big winners. And I realized back then that having a winning mindset really does work, or a positive mindset, and really trusting yourself, I suppose, if that makes sense to you. So I used to really put everything into my alternative job. And part of that was really keying into what did those people that were running the competitions, what did they want? So it's just like the dream client or the ideal client. What did they want from my entry? And I had to attract them with what I was doing with my competitions. So generally it was via a tiebreaker. You know, those ones that said in 15 words or less, tell me why you want to win £50,000 from Mars ice cream. And I would be sitting there for days on end, honing this craft and putting in my entry. And it ended up being quite a sort of, I don't know whether you call it a ritual of the process I went through. I trusted I was going to win. I trusted myself. I trusted the process. I honed into that one person who was going to pick my winning entry, and I wanted to attract them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just one person.
Just
remember
one
that,
person.
ladies, just one person. You're only
One
trying to
person.
attract one person.
And I think that people, I know it scares people to hone it down to one person. I know it does, but you are doing yourself a disservice when you don't do it. And I've seen it again and again, really, along the way. And not only, we'll talk later about up-leveling it to a dream client, it's kind of like, as I see it, in stages. Because some people, if they go direct to dream client, it's kind of a little bit, oh my days, this is all a bit much. But actually, it's amazing. It's really exciting. Just like I was entering my competition and I wanted to really be, found and be like a magnet, an attraction to that one person that was picking and judging. Exactly the same. You want to stand out from the crowd with your content, with your marketing, with your visuals, all of it. Everything really is about who you're selling to.
Interesting. So how deep do you think we need to go researching who our ideal stroke dream client is?
Yeah, no, it's really tricky. I've done it several ways. So I've run five-day free challenges over the years, and always on day 2 was ideal client day. And I used to like hear the sighs and the groans from those people, the challenge goers, oh, not ideal client day, please no. And it was so frustrating because I was like, if you just get past this bit, the rest of it is so easy. So what I did on my 4th challenge, I think it was, is I asked them to make a visual. I decided Tuesday ideal client wasn't working anymore. So we were going to go into a visual. Because I think when you're talking about ideal client, you're going, okay, I want you to think of them like your best friend, like your sister, like your brother. You know, it's easier said than done, isn't it? And we can go into all of the demographics, the psychographics. So the demographics for those that are watching is the age, location, etc. The psychographics is what magazines do they read, what podcasts do they listen to, where do they hang out on social media, what do they like doing in their spare time, etc. It's so important because if they are a dog lover and you are a dog lover, we've already got an attraction. So you could post about your dog and you can draw those people in, because we know dog lovers love to talk about our dogs. So it's about building the connection, just like you would do if you were going to a family wedding. You don't know too many people, but you've just got to find that common denominator. So that is, I believe, worth going down in quite a detail. But visualizing it makes it much more real and tangible. I don't know whether you've tried the visualization of it at all, Rosemary, before, but there was such a switch in people, and they're like, "Oh, I get it now."
So tell us what you mean by visualization. Yeah.
Yes.
One of the ladies who was interested in watching this, Stephanie, she's just setting up her business as a bookkeeper, and I know I've worked with bookkeepers, and they sort of looked at me like this when we've said our ideal clients, but when we've done it, whoa, things have changed. So
yeah, and remember also, we go back into, we used to advertise in the yellow pages. You know, it was all very much more direct and obvious, and there wasn't any of this quirkiness that we're sort of telling people, as you know, that they can. Accountants can work online, and now they've got to find an ideal client. So when I say visual, I start first of all with if you work in Canva, you can get your magazines, whatever, and you can build a visual. Now, what I ask people to do is visualize who it is, Is it a woman in her 30s? That's very different. So I've had people that are fitness clients, and they want to teach fitness, and their ideal client is menopausal women in their 50s. But yet they would use in their advertising a bikini clad woman in their 20s. There's no connection there. They would immediately see that image because it's the image first. They will notice, and within seconds they would scroll on past, because there is no connection there. But if you hold a fan in front of a woman, immediately anybody that is suffering with that will connect with them. They'll go, yeah, that's me. Oh my goodness, I'm having a bit of a moment. And so it's about drawing that in picture form. Now, when you are using graphics, if you're using Canva, I used to teach Canva. I'm part of the Canva certified creative team. So when you're using the graphics, you need to bring to their attention either the problem that they are experiencing or the solution or transformation. So there's two different ways of doing this: a visual for you and a guide for you, and using those and transferring them into the graphics that you use to attract your dream clients. And so we want to know, what have they gone through? What is their problem? What is the solution? And how are you going to help them uniquely? And we need to bring that together. Now, for example, an accountant, what is going to make her different than the rest? And that is key. And that is where we need to bring it out within whether we're writing reams of paper about our dream client or whether we're drawing a visual. What is it that makes you different? It's your unique selling point. Most often it's your energy. I don't know if you agree, Rosemary. It's quite often your energy, actually.
Yeah. Energy, personality, all that stuff, isn't it? Is that the resonance of someone?
Yeah. People buy from people. There could be lots of people doing the same sort. There is thousands upon thousands of people as a business mentor, but people invest in me because they like me and they think I talk sense, and they invest in me. And that's what happens. But the key is, at the start, we've got to attract them. So I call it like the dream client attractor factor. And that's what you've basically got to do. You've got to, it's like a dating site. So you could be, so my ideal client is, or my dream client is Helen. Okay, Helen likes reading. She likes walking and musicals, and would love company on winter nights in front of the fire reading or walking on the beach. And she loves nothing more than visiting the city and taking in a show. She likes big built men, corporate background, and who like to work out. Okay, so that's what Helen likes. Oh, well, let's see who we can match them with. Well, Dan, he likes reading and he loves walking, but interested in getting to know more about musical. He happens to live in the city, but never experienced it before. And he works in the city as well, but he would love to start surfing. Okay, so the connection there is beach, surfing, corporate, London, all the rest of it. So it's about building this picture, whether it is visually in your mind, if you're good at visualization, or actually building it. And I probably got something I can share with you guys, a template that people could use in your group, where you can just drag and drop pictures and search for pictures. That might be helpful. I don't know.
Is this sort of like a ideal client vision board?
It is, yeah. I actually do a workshop, which I'll tell you about later, but it's literally a dream client attractor vision board. That's exactly what it is. And you can do it as simply as 6 pictures, before, middle and after, or you can go bigger. It depends how you like to work. It depends how you like to learn. And for me, I tell people to either put them on your screensaver, just like you would do if you want to suddenly start earning more money or whatever, have it visually, or put it behind your computer when you're writing your content, because it really gives you a name and a face you're talking to, which makes your connection so much deeper. Really, really, I would highly encourage people to do that. Basically, you've got all of your people in your lovely group. They've got wonderful businesses, and they are trying to match their business, their services, or their products to the perfect client. We need to find that perfect match. And if we were, for example, in the O2 stadium and we are calling out to our clients that we want, and it's like thousands of people, and we're shouting out, hello, hello, anyone want to buy from me? Nobody would hear, nobody. But if you call out, I'm calling women aged 50, menopausal women, everyone else sit down. So I can't remember, is it the Nescafe ad or something?
Yeah, it wasn't the coffee
like
ad, wasn't it?
Right, that's it. And that's what you need to do. And with each time you say women, 50s, menopausal, this is an example, I'm not saying that's me, but it might be. As soon as you start putting the stakes in the ground, it makes it so much clearer. And you're like, and they're like, oh, she's talking to me. And it really does, it's impact. Oh, another analogy is a really good one. So you're in the garden in the summer and you've got your hose pipe and you're watering your plants, and you particularly want to water that lovely red rose in the corner. It's getting some lovely sunshine, but it's looking a little bit flat and deflated. So you want to water it, okay? It's surrounded by all these other lovely, lovely plants. The buddleias there. It's all very, very gorgeous. So, but you want to really give that feed to that rose feed to that rose, okay? So you're spraying it there. But as you're spraying it there, all the other spray is impacting all the other plants around it and still getting water. And what they do is they start turning around and listening and going, wow, I love the energy there and the connection they're having with the other dream client. I don't know if that makes sense, that analogy, but I think it really does help to say that just because you're focusing on one red rose, it doesn't mean all the other plants aren't going to be taking notice. And that's key, because I think the resistance that comes is that they don't want to lose clients. That's why people say, I don't want to do ideal client work because I'm going to lose clients. You're not. You're going to gain many more clients, but not only that, you're going to gain the dream clients you want to work with, not just clients that you, oh God, it's a bit of a drag. You want to work with people that are going to be the same energy, that want, results, that are prepared to do everything it takes to get those results. And I think it's really, really key. But I understand the resistance.
Yeah, it can be a bit frightening to say, I only work with these people, can't it? But the way it was put to me was that it was like one of the old records, your ideal clients, the groove in the record, and the other ones fall round the outside. Or sit round the outside, and when they're ready they might fall into the groove, because people have different stages, don't they, in their kind of cycle of working with you. Yeah,
that's really important, and that's quite key about the ideal client journey, because that's another level to go down, because you can have your products and services relating to every area of that journey. So those people at the entry, the start of their journey, with a little, a lower priced offer. Those ones that want to go and to implement more is the middle one that's gone a little bit further in their journey, and so on. They can go right to the end of the journey. And quite often people find that once you've worked on your dream client and they've entered your system, your dream client system, they stay as your dream client. They stay working with you for a while. But actually, it's healthy to let them go at some stage, whether it's in a membership, whether it's natural to grow. It's natural to evolve, isn't it? And it's okay. Just as much as it's wonderful to welcome them, it's wonderful to say, it's been fabulous. Keep me posted.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? And sometimes it can be, I see this particularly in the therapy world, of people hanging on to people for years. Yeah. And of course, healing is about change and moving forward, isn't it? So as is business, we evolve, don't we? Yeah.
I think that it's our job, Rosemary, to make sure that our clients aren't so reliant on us, and that we're actually helping them find the confidence to do it without us. And that's key. And I think those that stay within the world for a long, long time, it's because they just haven't quite got the courage or the confidence to do it on their own. And that means like we need to work harder to make sure they get to that stage. But no, I absolutely adore the ideal client and dream client world. And I think that, you know, up leveling it, I think we talked about this earlier, going from ideal client to dream client. And that's super, super exciting, because an ideal client is somebody who can pay for you. It's okay working with them, but it doesn't, like, it's not fireworks and wow, and it's not like it's not, as you said, a soul client. For me, I really go for the deeper level now. And I think this is a thing as well. I think when you start out in business, you think I'll just take everybody. And that is because you have to get that money in the bank. You have to pay the bills. But in actual fact, later on, when you do get choices, when you can spread your wings and say, actually, I don't think we're a good fit, that gives you an insane amount of confidence and energy to say, actually, I'm sure there's somebody out there for you, but it's not me. And you put all your energy out there to get that dream client. And dream clients are people that are really excited about working with you. Money is no objection. And they are going to do everything in their power to get the results, because they are ready for everything you've got to offer. And that is exciting. And that can be from teaching somebody to do hairdressing. It could be somebody, as I said earlier, the accountant. It's every single profession. You can up level your ideal client to a dream client.
Yeah, thank you. So we got a message from Emma Nichols, who runs a beautiful retreat in France.
Oh.
Emma says, good advice as entrepreneurs, don't find it easy to focus on one market. I'm very easily distracted. And then she says, I could do several avatars, but need to focus on one.
Yeah. You can focus on more avatars if you are fully booked. Once your marketing is absolutely nailed down, and it's not just about the marketing, it's about your niche, your messaging, all of it. It's like what I call the fabulous foundations. Once that's all nailed down and it's working like clockwork, and that revenue's coming in, that's without too much problem. That's when you can think about producing a product for somebody else or a different genre of people, for example, for the retreat. But initially, you've got to go all out, one ideal client, preferably dream client. That's what I would think. What do you think, Rosemary, about that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the sooner you can, I think when people are learning, I used to see this a lot with therapists, you kind of get your experience working on everyone, don't you? Same as coaching. And then I've even got this year that my ideal clients all have the same archetypes.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, not so much the money ones, but alchemist, I'm alchemist, and sage, branding archetypes. I work with a lady today and I worked with a lady last week, and they are both alchemist and sage, and there are 12 of those archetypes. And that was just when I got, whoa, I've been using those for nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
It's now maybe a different evolution. And for me, the person who I work with, they're really happy to go quite deep on intuitive work, and to go into their heart space and connect with their ideal client there and not worry about it. Just think, oh yeah, if you tell me to do something, I'll do it. And to trust me and trust themselves to really go deep and higher.
Rosemary, that is such an important point you're making about trusting yourself, but also trusting you as their coach, their mentor. It's so important, because without that, you won't get the best of everything. And I love that. And I love that because they are the right people then. If they're coming to your world and they are ready and they're willing to go deep into themselves and do the work, that's exciting to me.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I notice is when I'm being too broad, I often go into caretaking. That's when someone will say to me, oh, I don't have the money, but that's when I start, well, how could we make this work for you? which
yes. Oh, yeah, that's really tricky because, of course, you're kind, you're giving, Rosemary. That is part of your qualities, and you want to try and suit everybody. But we need to ensure that we are attracting our dream client that's already ready to pay for us. And we also make a product suite that is available for somebody that can't afford to work with you one-to-one. So there's maybe a course that somebody can work, do it yourself course. There's a one-to-one at different levels, and then you can point them and signpost them in different areas to say, okay, well, I understand it's not the right time for you, but you might be able to, and move them down your product suite to a lower price thing. So you still keep them in your system, but you're not necessarily having to then go, oh, right, well, do you want a payment plan? And so on and so forth. And I'm really I've been very, very rigid. I don't do sales calls at all. So I don't do fact finding. I don't do anything like that at all, because my content says exactly what it is. Everything I put out tells everybody exactly what they want to know. And I also always put the price out, because your dream client has the right to know that. Otherwise, what you do is, if you don't put your price out into your content to your dream client, how do you know if it's a dream client contacting you? Because they'll be thinking 27 quid and you're thinking 2,700. There's a very, very different. So when I put my prices out there, people that go into my messaging and my DMs, they already are pre-qualified, because they already know they can afford that. So that's really, really important, because that's time saving, massively time saving for everybody.
And that's got also that kind of authentic upfrontness about it as well, hasn't it?
Yes, and I had a really bad, difficult time with selling. So up until 2 years ago, if I had a book in front of me, I would. Here we go. This was me, Rosemary. I don't know if I said this to you. I was like, hello. If you want me, I'm just here. That's what I was like. Visibility for me, appalling. I was super confident in what I was doing, what I could produce, the change I can make, but I wasn't very good at telling people, because I felt like a spammy pammy. And it was dreadful. It felt icky to me. And that's why I had to change the way I was doing it. I had to just put the stuff out there, know that I'm giving insane value with all of the other content that I'm putting out there. If I run a masterclass, it's an insanely valuable masterclass. So I lead with value. And then if people want to invest after that, and I do believe people invest in that energy, I have then a high sign up after that, when they've seen me in, working together at that lower level, whether it's a £27 masterclass, whether it's a £97 workshop. It gives, now, even if they don't invest straight away, you've made such an amazing, phenomenal impact on them, that when they're ready, they will remember you. And I think that's really, really key, to have a product suite for every price and give value and energy, and then cut out all of that other dross of selling. I'm rubbish at it. It's kind of like, when I put a sales post, this is my sales post. There's no, I'll get on a call with you and try and persuade you for half an hour until you give in. I can't do that. It's not me. I don't know what you're like, Rosemary, with it, because I'd be literally saying, oh, have it for free all the time, because I'd be so ridiculously soft.
I have conversations with people because they don't always know what they want, I think. And but I'm beginning to realise that all the sales training that I used to see, oh my goodness, at some of the conferences I went to 10 years ago that were run principally by men. Oh, wow. I used to want to cringe under the table sometimes. And that's how a lot of sales training's been done. And you get people like Catherine Watkin, who work on a very, very different level. Her business is selling from the heart. And so I think we're evolving into this new, very different way of selling, aren't we? But
I think some people, the guys out there that are like the hard sellers, they'll attract people that don't mind that. And I think like attracts like. So if we go into a shop, Rosemary, I don't know if you're like me, and somebody says, can I help you? No, thank you, I'm fine. And then you go to the next rail to look at the code. are you sure I can't help you? I'm like you've literally turned me off right now. I don't want this at all. I'm literally, this is invasion of my time. So I wouldn't do it to other people. And I think it's such a unique, and it's down to the individual as to how they like to sell, or how they like to be sold to. And I do believe that we are serving our dream clients. That's the difference, isn't it? We're not selling, we're serving. They have a problem, we have the solution. If we're a good energetic match, it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, that's right. Emma says that's a really good point about transparency. And it's when you were talking about having your prices in public. I've been going back and forth on what to do. Yes, it's challenging, isn't it, Emma? We were talking about that as well, weren't we? Do you have a prices from, or do you have particularly if you have several different products, your website can have a lot of information on it, can't it? Well, maybe there's some.
Yeah.
Depends on your products, doesn't it, as well?
It does, yeah. I mean, for me, less is more, and it's much better to have like that tiered product. But it really, that's because it's me. I'm a business mentor, and that's how it works for me. But another person could have 30 different. I mean, going into retreats in France, there could be so many different sort of permutations of that. That it could be how many people for, how long they're staying, what are they wanting, what are their, meal requirements. There could be so many different. So I can imagine a from number is really good guide. So this is the basic from, and then we add into it. And a form would be really good in that aspect. I'm sure it's already done. A form of requirements of what would you like, and I will give you, so they don't feel, again, they're getting on. Some people would like to phone and speak on the phone to find out who they're staying with. Some people would rather fill out a form, a Google form, and just find out that end number.
Yeah. And of course, this is the joy of having things like Facebook groups, isn't it, where you can share things as you go along, so people have an idea of what they'll get anyway, because they've experienced you and they've seen where they're going and what you do. And I know in Winning Women, when I do challenges or Emma says form's a great idea. Thank you, Nicky. Yeah, in Winning Women, when I've shared, that's when somebody will pop up out of nowhere. And the other thing, I heard this a lot from LinkedIn recently as well, the people who often end up working with you are not the ones who comment. They're the silent observers.
No, that's right. I have that a lot, and I've actually started using my email list now, and it was quite a phenomenon to me. I was like, oh my God, you actually can like sell on your email list. I've been in business for many years, and it was more about newsletters, information. It was a tick in the box rather than a relationship building. And now I focus on relationship building and getting people to respond to you, etc., in emails. But it's exactly like, as you said, email marketing, LinkedIn. Yeah, people come out and they say, I've been watching you for the last 2 years. I'm thinking about working with you. You're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This client attraction works. This is great. And it's exciting. I love LinkedIn, by the way, Rosemary. That's my main place that I hang out in.
Is it? Yeah, it's starting to be mine as well, apart from this group, of course.
Yes, well, I think this is it. Facebook is community. That's what it's about, within the laws of Facebook, it's community. And I think, LinkedIn's an amazing place for connections and networking.
And I think we need communities, don't we? We've got a bit starved in some ways, haven't we? And
good communities, I think that's the difference. There are millions of Facebook groups. I can't remember the statistics, millions of them, but a lot of them are link dropping and that sort of thing, where really when I see people doing that, it really doesn't give the right energy, because it's like, oh, I need somebody to buy now. But actually your community is a community, and that's what Facebook really are hedging towards now. They want people to have communities, and you're allowed to bring in and add them as guest experts now into your community. So if you can find them in other groups now and bring them in, it's all amazing stuff.
Yes, it's certainly to be not exploited. Yeah, exploited. Why not?
Well, it's not exploited because they, in the end, make the rules and we have to stand by it. I've always said if I could pay for Facebook, I would, because then at least I'd know and we don't have to work with the darn algorithms. But as it is, we have to work with it, not against it. And that's really key. But what I would say is about the ideal client attraction is use your visualization either in your mind or in a design, which you can print up behind you. Step into that energy of working with that dream client when you're writing your content is really important. If you're feeling like, oh, I've got to do social media this month, it's a real drag. Now that's going to come across in your content. But if you're going, oh my gosh, this is so exciting that I'm going to be working with this lovely Helen, she's going to be amazing, you will write your content in a different way. If you've got that positive look on it, and be creative, and don't be shy about showing your unique self to your ideal client. I'm not a massive swearer, but some people are, and if they show it, if they're going to be like that in their membership or whatever they're running, then they need to be showing that, because otherwise you'll be mightily offended. So I do think that whatever type of person you are, you need to show up as you are. But I understand that that's frightening at times, but the more you can show up as yourself, the better it is for your business. Be creative with it and trust the process. Trust that doing the ideal client, up leveling to your dream client works. It really does impact every area, and in the end, the bottom line, which means you're going to get more income if you do the work.
Yeah. And that's something Janie Lee Grace said last week, was that when we were talking about visibility, when you go to someone's website, you have to see them. You have to see and read who that person is. And once again, therapists, you can have a nice Buddha or something, can't you? Or you have no idea who's behind that page. And then once you've done that bit, it's about your client, isn't it? It's about that dream client, talking to them, using the keywords and whatever it is. Yeah.
So it's interesting because I don't worry too much about keywords or anything. I don't think about what time I'm posting. I don't worry about it all. What I now do is I feel it and I post it.
Yeah.
I just go with it, because it's better to post twice a week from the heart than post 20 times a week because you have to, that's my personal feeling on it, because it's such pressure.
Yes, and it just ends up being posting for the sake of posting as well, doesn't it? There's no gravitas, there's no fun in there, is there?
Tick on in the box, and we've all done it, and then we thought, oh, we're not getting in sales. Well, why do you think that is, Nick? Why did it work last month and this month it hasn't? Oh, I really enjoyed it last month. Well, that's why. If you read your posts, you can see the difference in them, and that's what your dream clients will be reading as well. We want to impact them straight from the off. First 3 lines as well. First 3 lines.
Right. First 3 lines, ladies.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, Nicky, where can the ladies find you? And do you have anything going on at the moment they can partake in?
Yes, I hang out on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. People can find me on Facebook because I have business, and but I don't advertise as much on my personal page, but that's how I connect with people. But I'm mainly on LinkedIn. I'll drop all the information to you, Rosemary, if that's okay, and you can add it into the group. I've got a Build Your Dream Client Vision workshop on the 30th of September at 8 p.m. It's £97. It's an hour and a half, but I'll do 50% off for anybody that wants to do that. So I can send the details to you for that one. And as I said, it's about an hour and a half. I do it in the evening because I think it's away from office and it's more chilled, and I think that's where we need to be in when we want to get creative about our dream clients. So I've got that one if people would like to. I'll give you a discount code for women, winning women.
Lovely. And you might like to come and put that in the Free for All Friday thread as well, please.
Oh, okay then. Yes, of course I will do.
Yeah, it's in the announcements on Friday. Come and pop it in there too.
Okay.
Good.
I will make a note to do that.
Thank you. And I've got the links to your pages. I'll put those in here afterwards.
Okay, lovely.
And this is, anyone who's watching who's just caught the end of this is now going in the guide section. They're all in the guide section, so you can listen to any of the talks. And just to say, next week we've got Helen Elizabeth Evans, who is she's a friend of mine, UK's leading scientific hand analyst, and she's talking about how your hands can get you unstuck.
How fascinating will that be? I love that.
Yeah. She's did mine in 2013, and it scared the doodah out of me.
Because it was so spot on.
I didn't know. She said I had 8 intuition markers, and I had no idea. And it was just, and when you're not on your life path, you create challenges. And I was really living 100% in my challenges. And now, several years later, I've really dropped into my path. Challenges are still there. But yeah, come have a listen. I'll do a little live about it as well. Quite a few women in the group.
Next Thursday, is it 8 o'clock?
I think it's Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. next Tuesday. But these, they're always in the announcements. They go out in our emails as well. So if you've left me your email address, they'll go out in there. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got the next 6 weeks booked up. So I will get all those out in the email. Lovely. Emma says, thank you very much. And Nicky, thank you so much. We've really appreciated it. It's a very interesting conversation. And yeah.
Really enjoyed the time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, come back. You're in the group now. So anyone wants to leave Nicky a question, how can they contact you? Best on Messenger or what? Yes,
Messenger is absolutely fine. Or if they're over on LinkedIn, they can contact me there. Really, yeah. And I can drop my email address as well if that's helpful.
Fantastic. Yeah, do that. That'd be lovely. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you for watching, ladies. And bye-bye for now. See you next week. Yeah, see you next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. That's it. Bye-bye.